Gotta remember, going back to the qualifiers, they always got knocked down to that lower bracket by a team called Niwa, which went to that fifth and final set, a match point scenario. I've got some big reservations on Crazy Raccoon this year. We've only really just started to scratch the surface.
Yeah, lots of said here. Still ahead of us to see from Crazy Raccoon, but I gotta say, effort result coming in. Hearing the surprise in your voices, Trav. I think this means they maybe brought a little more than any of us were expecting.
Yeah, I think that's fair to say. Like I said, I think it should have gone to a third game to decide it there if they would maybe manage those gems a bit better towards the end and kind of weren't pushed back into spawns so soon after picking up that 10th gem. Then they would have had a big chance, but you know there were two hyperchargers waiting for them. When the Janet's just dropping bombs and she can volley with pinpoint accuracy with that hypercharge, it's not an easy situation to escape. But they do have still some time to bring this one back. Yes, Crazy Raccoon coming into this one favourites. Yes, they've started well. Yes, they started with expected, but I have to say, arguably, they're not looking as comfortable as they have been previous years.
Well, I'm excited as we head to this next matchup to feel out from their perspective if they're, just finding their groove for tonight. It is a fresh day, it is a fresh start, but we could be seeing something here from that result that might be the beginning of an incredible story, especially so early in the season. So anything as we head into this next match that you think we should watch out for from effort result, that might be an indication they're really starting to pick up some slack.
For me, the drafts aren't bad. They're getting some nice ideas. The shape kind of worked. I mean, again, it was one of those places where it's probably the best place.
No hay otro reaccionando en YouTube, fíjate.
It's not really been a meta brawl, not really been much of an issue for many, but it was getting some good value and clearly something which, despite a lot of the counter ideas that the Crazy Raccoon tried to bring to that equation, they were still crumbling. They were still quite nervous to me, and very much unlike the Crazy Raccoon that I've come to know. And that's a bit of a worrying thing so far. But this is what happens when you have roster change-ups and they bring in a new player into the mix for this roster in Milk Rio. How are things going to land and how they're going to settle along the way? But already I think that they should have made that first set look a bit more convincing. Let's see though when they start to kind of settle in how things will fare as we move on to our next game then, which will be Brawl Ball and center stage. And again, Milk Rio still got that blanket, but let's see whether it's going to be much of a second set now. The draft comes in. The bans are there. Trav, the Sandy, the Otis, and the Lou. Banned out by Crazy Raccoon. The Frank, the Lou, and the Buster for effort result.
Yeah, I mean, bans fine for me. I don't mind them at all. We've definitely got some different approaches of kind of what they're expecting of the team to want to take. And, for effort results bans, getting rid of the Frank that we've just seen work so well, and the Buster as well, clearly shows that Crazy Raccoon might have been kind of picking up some tanks in scrims, and therefore effort results kind of banned out to get rid of that idea. But a Juju early pick is very good in these bushes, going to be able to, have that range off the start. But as the game starts to close down, and you're getting in those close range fights, it's not really going to be as good. Might need some wall break down these sides to ensure that she's not going to be caught off guard.
I mean,
o sea, tiene que ganar 3.
For me right now, it's kind of sacrilege, I'm gonna be honest. I think that you just have to ban it everywhere for me. I think it's so good against tanks. That was the Draco that we saw in discussions with Milk Rio prior to the show as well, that they are very set on the side of Crazy Raccoon. They like those kind of up and close, really aggressive ideas. And I quite like it as well. The Surge coming in again. This pairing idea that we've seen already in that first set from Crazy Raccoon makes a lot of sense. I think Surge is still incredibly relevant in this meta. Hypercharge, of course, really lending a good helping hand to that already very strong brawler. And Draco's been slept on. I've got to be honest, I really quite like it in this kind of so far. Would like to have seen even more of it actually at the Wild Finals, as we've already mentioned. The meta being very kind of similar to it still to this day. But Juju's
además mío no es 5, mío es 3 nomás.
A massive beacon and very. Oh, this is good. I'm liking this kind of synergy.
Yeah, but double thrower, I feel like Crazy is very susceptible. They're gonna have to pick an anti-tank here as their last pick, and even that I feel kind of leaves them a little bit open to a third and final pick from Crazy Raccoon. I like the throwers. It's not a route that I kind of see too often on center stage. Double thrower at least. I feel we usually see Berry.
¿Tú crees que no se han estudiado entre ellos?
On her own as well, and they are going to go just try and power through with the Ash. I don't really hate it, but the double thrower will always scare me.
I think it scares everyone, to be honest. But Berry is such a great place for me, as is Juju. I do get what you're saying. It can crumble very quickly. And if the HP is too much on the side of Crazy Raccoon with that Draco, which again is a brawler which can be very painful, and there is why you've got to be fearful of the double thrower. It's like the coin's not necessarily in their favor for it. I think that's the perfect response from Crazy Raccoon. If they didn't go with that, then this comp may have been more gnarly than it actually now is. The Mortis can really have a fantastic time against this draft. And I think Crazy Raccoon may have just pulled out a fantastic pick in just the right stage of it.
¿Cómo se comunican entre ellos?
You kind of want to land yourself with that.
No veo que tengan audífonos.
You kind of want to land on your final pick and have that be a situation where you can overview the entire draft and make that informed decision to know that that is the right time to double down, quite literally. And I think they may have missed the trick there. Crazy Raccoon now, and it's Tensai on it. We could be in for a treat here, Trav.
I mean, Draco and Mortis should surely just be able to overrun these two throwers. You know, I'm not counting them out, but if Milcreo gets some stacks, and what else can I say? Like, what did he expect?
I love it.
It's so obvious.
It is. But, you know, this is the thing about Crazy Raccoon is, like, you've got to hand it to them. They've been shaken a little bit today, but clearly not stirred. Now, as we see, the drafting still very much on point. Coming in now, Gren with the Lions prep, burning down everything in his path.
Mira cómo pega Maya.
Pichu as the Juju Gree going in there onto mid Gren. Not going to find too much there as the catch a pop. Tensai Hypercharge coming in as well. So aggressive.
Ese Morty detonador, serio. Dos latigazos.
Pick them up one by one, really. There's no need.
Mira cómo defienden la portería.
They want to tie this one up as quickly as possible, and why not?
Yeah, I mean, they're fine with Effort Result just sitting in the position that they were, but they are going to make a move eventually. There's the Hypercharge pass comes through, and actually, I think
a la bestia.
Napishu's going to use the Hypercharge.
A la bestia.
A little bit of a pass into Tensai there, and he actually got the ball instead of being able to attack. So, not what he'll have wanted, but Effort Result.
Ese que gira aquí, ¿quién es?
And actually do have a bit of a chance now.
Ese que gira como remolino. Está poderoso ese. Mira, mira. Ah, la vez se bajonearon,
Actually, are the ones to gain the game. Unbelievable draft that, in my opinion, you know, I was swayed by the draft at the beginning, but then swayed immediately back towards Crazy Raccoon when the Mortis showed its face. But they got the game, Trap, and they were a goal down. So that tells me that they've got some perseverance in this squad. Again, against the Goliath, like Crazy Raccoon. Who would have thought that they would be up in this set?
Yeah, I mean, Tensai going in and not finding the same results as he was in the last one either, but they do clean up quickly, and this should be a goal. A little pass forward to Milcreo, and maybe they'll just walk it in alone. And, I mean, it was closer than I thought it was going to be at the end, but Milcreo does get the early goal once more for Crazy Raccoon. Whether or not they're going to be able to play that a little bit better and keep it this way.
I think when Junior Zero gets this Gree, that's the
tiene que hacer
turning point for me, and now it is, but I think it's the
triple kill.
Ball push forwards, big
la reconaron.
¡Ya está! Is there. Crazy Raccoon pushing forwards, and this should be a great straight walk through goal, and it is. As quickly as that, this set is all tied up.
See, that's what we expected to happen after the first goal in the first game. We expected them to just continue that dominance and walk all over them once more. Definitely a lot better by Crazy Raccoon in that second game, but you know, after the first, I don't think they should really count the opposition out, because they've made it happen once before. What's stopping them from doing it again? But that was night and day by Crazy Raccoon.
Ahí está el verdadero nivel.
Well, now if it results on push forwards, I'm just going to say it. Let them cook. As far as I'm concerned, I want them to gain this set. Big rats here against Samoya. Big aggression. Shots over the wall there from the Juju as well. 1 HP from the last stand gadget. And it won't be enough to get the ball safe into hands of Tensai, but Gree going to be going in yet again. Big taps. Gina Zuri is playing a fantastic game on this Juju, and if you can just keep cycling these Grees in, that to me is the turning point in this draft.
You know, unable to get defendiendo. She was so close to death. Tensai now all alone, trying to defend it. Rather than holding onto it, but can't be too far away as he did cycle it through 2 of them. And now Effort Result take the 1-goal lead this time in this third and final deciding game, but now they bounce out of the blocks quickly. The Pishu's going forward again. Jump, he goes over it. That's a huge mistake. Huge mistake from them. And that's going over to Effort Result, equalizing this and making it 1-1.
Está yendo bien. Se recuperaron, pero el otro reventó.
You know, we were saying the draft was just instantly turned, and that Crazy Raccoon just with that final Morris pick, we're going to just be able to seal it very, very quickly. And in some instances, they did. But this is the worrying thing. And that 4% on the event side now, licking their chops.
Look at those numbers. They are only just a little bit different, but that's all it took for Effort Result to squeak out a win here. Now, just a couple more, and they could be looking at a move down the bracket, which we all thought was unlikely. But gentlemen, they've really brought some surprises here. What is tripping Crazy Raccoon up, Trev?
I mean, that was crazy. The double throw was, you know, it was extremely surprising to see in the draft. So I think that probably took them by surprise a little bit. I'm guessing they kind of assumed they had it in the bag when they picked the mortars, just like I did, I will say. You know,
y aquí que cuántas finales mensuales ganó Crazy Raccoon. Sopla.
The double thrower. But they just got
1, 2, 3, 4. Habla.
So much aggression from the Ash, and as Ark said, the Grigri doing so much work there. Juju Super tanking a lot of that damage.
We're looking down the barrel of 3 more maps here. We've seen some exciting picks, some great choices. Do we think they can cook with Shooting Star?
I mean, we weren't expecting to get beyond Shooting Star, were we, going into this matchup? I mean, we saw there in the stats for Crazy Raccoon, number of the beast. They need a Guardian Angel right now. We saw Demonic Mortis skin, but they're going to need a lot more than that. They're not looking great. You know, I mean, they are, you know, for a squad of their stature, struggling, and we shouldn't be saying that in this stage of the competition. This is just the quarterfinals against a very unknown team. I'm sure the chat going to be going wild with this one, but going into it, we had 4% poll in favor of Effort Result, and so far they're looking a lot better than many of us gave them credit.
Ese es Casa Estelar, ¿no?
Start to show if they're going to be able to win or not. I mean, quite clearly this is quite a decisive set to be able to win, going up 2-1 whoever takes this one. But this is, you know, really where mechanics start to shine through, a bit more long range. And if you don't have the range, you're going to have to be able to dodge. And Crazy Raccoon, a team of 3 very strong mechanical players, should be able to breeze through this one. I've got full belief that Effort Result might be able to
Hola, Snyder, ¿cómo estás?
If they go up in this set.
Vete para Twitch, Snyder.
It's a lot of it is going to be decided here, just as it was in the last.
I want to see a Gus ban, I want to see a Nanny ban, I want to see a Piper ban, I mean, I want to see a Juju ban in that mid. Certainly, Juju's going to have a fantastic time here. Angelo could have a good time in the mid here as well, but certainly ban's so important there. We're going to see Angelo ban, Juju, and the Gene as well on the side of Effort Result. Bell, Penny, and the Piper. Crazy Raccoon.
30 segundos. Es que no tengo Twitch, pues. Oye, créate un Twitch, facilito, con tu cuenta de Google, de YouTube. Y ya está.
I think it's still going to be a fantastic pick here regardless. Max could be as well on the minds of Crazy Raccoon. I'm looking at you, Tensai. Gray, though, it's the first pick. Not the one that I was expecting.
Si gusta, quédate en YouTube, no hay problema. Pero si quieres usar el bot de Speak, tienes que venir a Twitch.
Those TPs certainly being able to cycle through the hypercharges, giving Gray a new lease of life for sure. But is it enough to warrant a first pick?
Recién mi primera.
I mean, you're going to be able to use that walking to be able to pull someone through the wall.
¿Por cuál equipo votaste? No llegué a votar. Me demoré.
A bit of an unfavorable situation. So
van a sacar hack trick.
But as you said, I quite like the Gus shout that you made, and so did Napishu, clearly, as he's picked that up as his first.
Aquí escogió Moya. Moya, ¿ese quién es Moya?
Going to give teammates health, going to give yourself health if you're in a tough position, and also the range, the Kooky Popper. He just got so much kit to be able to make him very, very useful on a long range.
No, mi flaquita. Voy a ver cómo juegan los Master con mi flaquita.
Sure. I mean, if Effort Result are picking it, then it must be good, considering how much their previous drafts have kind of thrown me off. Definitely grasping at some different things that we saw.
Pues hasta que se tapa la boca.
So I'm starting to have more and more faith in their drafts.
Y ese viejito. 8-bit, ese tira un montón de balas, ¿eh?
I never would have thought going into this matchup that hearing you say that if Effort Result are picking it, then it must be good. I mean, that's a bit of a curveball for me.
They seem to be drafting such dodgy picks, and then it just seems to be working.
You've made a fan here today for a result. You got Trav on your side immediately off the bat of that 4% poll on event.brawlstars.com. 8-bit and Byron, we got to talk about that. I like Byron here for sure, and I did get a little bit of a glimmer when you mentioned Kit in regards to Gus having a good kit, but it is now showing its face as the third and final pick on the side of effort result as well. It can work. But we've also, Trav, as you and I both know, because we cast that game in the World Finals, had moments where Kit can definitely not work. What kind of day is it going to be on a map and mode like Bounty and Shooting Star to bring in a Kit?
I mean, what a weird map. What? It's such a confusing draft by effort result again. You know, Melody is definitely not something I see every day on Shooting Star, I'll put it that way. I'm not just sure if I'm just not versed with the East Asia draft, but you know,
to be fair.
Yeah, but the thing is, like, it's gonna be okay. I just don't know if I'm entirely convinced that it's, you know, a draft that we'd see in near of any other region.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm with you, but hey, if ever result drafting, mate, it must be good. It must be good.
It seems to be working.
Let's see. They have got the lead on the side of Crazy Raccoon, and I do like the 8-bit. I don't necessarily knock it too heavily, but I just know it's one of those brawlers that can be quite slow when it comes down to the position on the map and like Bounty and Shooting Star. That can go against you sometimes. As again, Blue Star is with effort results. One singular takedown as we're getting a few little glimmers on the Wi-Fi there on the spectator. We'll see how the game develops, but nonetheless, both sides are still just looking to just earn that utility, sets down, try to get some things on the map. Certainly for Moya, that's his thought process. With the 8-bit, you do need to get that sort of booster down. You've got to have that plugged-in star power to really have that additional agility and the mobility on the map. So having that will be able to evade some losses, hopefully in terms of
a very defensive 8-bit turret here. We usually see it thrown behind the unbreakable wall, but with the pinch that Gus would be able to put in, and if Melody gets even a shot on someone, she'd just be able to take it out with a note. So we see a very patient Kit here. They might be waiting for a last-second push, along with Napishu and a Gus shield onto them as well. That would be quite a scary thing to have coming towards you.
Couple box. Ooh, that was a close little prediction there from Milk Rio, but he's still not aware that Ginaziri is lurking, and there on the side, straight back out. Good healing there, being handed over. They've just clutched it in the final seconds. 10 sides too low to contest this. Big taps on Samoy. The TP's there, but it's not going to be enough as well to be able to do anything more. And 10 side for desserts. This is a fantastic turnaround as effort results have come out on top yet again with a absolute
no iba a completar los 20.
If ever result draft it, it's gonna work.
Mantiene su distancia, además, todos.
Let them cook on these drafts, honestly. They're the weirdest things I've ever seen, but they're working. I mean, what a play that was down the right-hand side by Ginazir, to be fair. Double invis in the cardboard box, picks up a kill, you know, doesn't use his jump to get in. He's using the other kit that Kit has with the invises, and it's just what he might be able to find one on Milko here as well.
Oh yeah, if he just got that first swipe on, it was a little bit out of range, unfortunately. If he'd just been able to swipe that first shot earlier, he may have been okay, but 10 sides not. And then comes the Melody to clear things up. The star is hand over though.
Se arriesgó la Melody.
As Moya will pick it up, and that is the 3-star lead now for Crazy Raccoon with the blue. Let's see what this kid can do on the right-hand side again. This time, Milk Rio finding that prediction shot in a nice way as well. TP going in, but exchange the Melody will be able to escape this situation. Can we say the same for Wahochi on the left-hand side as Moya can't find these taps?
Yeah, the gap doesn't really close. It stays the same with just more stars on either side. Napishu does have a hypercharge, and that's a dangerous
Pero mira la estrategia que ponen con el portal, mira.
With these invises in the cardboard boxes, Milkro a bit more clocked onto it this time. Doesn't have to want to make the same mistakes he had did in the previous game and kind of cost his team with those. But Napishu is searching for a super to use along with this hypercharge.
Mira ese que vivo, mira, pone uno en el césped y otro allá.
Because they know that Milk Rio is that person to really latch onto with the
kit. Como para ser emboscada.
Available there for 10 side now as the connection is there as well, so this heal's going to be really able to push things forward.
Se van con todo, se van con todo.
As well on the Melody side, this could be dangerous. 10 sides forced away there. Where's she going? Left hand side, it's a wipe, but Crazy Raccoon now
Melody se lleva todo.
Can't find anything of a connection. 25 seconds are available here
for
a turnaround, but I mean, again, it's Effort Result escaping with the goods, but this time round they've got to hold it for longer.
Yeah, Napishu's so low, and the gill shield's gonna be missed.
11-12.
Down as well on the left. Napishu might be able to pick it up, though. Gets a shield along with it. Tensai pinned in. They might be able to pick him up. In goes the hypercharge from Moy with the jump on it from the kids.
14-15.
Crazy Raccoon managed to do it. Unbelievable. When everything
La
looked to be going the opposing
empató,
team's way,
güey.
Crazy Raccoon managed to clutch up.
For Crazy Raccoon here, I didn't want them to lose stamina too early because I would love for this to go the distance now. We've seen so much unexpected out of Effort Result. I feel your opinion's changing in real time, Trev.
Yeah, I mean, as we go into this third game now, Gina's just gonna get pulled straight through that wall. Napishu, not no, I mean, what a move this is as well. Almost got his jump back there, or did get his jump back, but couldn't quite use it out. Moya with the TP back to the left-hand side. Wahochi backing off just a little bit. They are 2 stars down, but it's a closer scoreline than in the previous one, and they did manage to turn that as around last time as well.
Oh, this is dangerous stuff here. The kid, the shield there, perfect timing. Gonna get some more value.
Oye, ¿qué? Ese gato se va sin vida para atacar todos.
Of Crazy Raccoon, and there's another tally as well. As the pitcher just getting there, a little bit overzealous. Walking Kane, oh my word! What an interaction! Cardboard box can save it. Now Crazy Raccoon really are starting to cook here. Their lead extending big time here. 14 stars.
Déjate de vainas, esta la gana. Ese gato tiene que arraigarse nomás. Ah, ya ves, no puede. No puede, pe. El gato tiene que arraigarse, no puede.
And that was so fast. Crazy Raccoon bounce back is, unparalleled. They really, backs against the wall. They're almost dropping a set and going down 2-1. But in the end, they managed to bounce back and get that set back, because that could have gone incredibly wrong for them, and it looked like it was going to go that way in the first and the second games. I mean, the first went the way of Effort Result. The second probably should have done, but a big turnaround in the closing seconds by Crazy Raccoon allowed them to just hold on that a little bit more.
No tenía café.
I don't know about you guys. The excitement of that match made me think I was a caster for a brief second.
2-1.
Really, more than we were expecting, more than we were led to believe we would see from Effort Result, and just an exciting rise to the challenge that we see now from Crazy Raccoon. Are they really bringing out the best in each other here?
It's also, I'm down to see it. I think 1 month we just do a switch and we go for it. I can tell you've got it in you. What an amazing match. I gotta say though, I feel like for me, Effort Results really threw it away. Like they really did that. They demonstrated they could make the comp work, that they were able to come out with a win. And in that final match, when it was all tied up, they just went in so overzealous. They really did not need to. They could have had a lot more time to recollect themselves and talk things through and get those communication lines flowing a little bit better. They went in too overly aggressive. The trades were just not in their favor anymore, by much in comparison to the previous first games, where they really waited for that opportunity to strike. And that was what was beautiful about it. Yes, in their second game, Crazy Raccoon did turn it around in the end, back into their favor, and got the job done against all odds. But the pacing was so different. In that third game, none of that pacing was relevant anymore. They just didn't really seem to have that same composure at all anymore.
There is much said across all of sports about playing your own game versus getting tripped up into playing somebody else's game here. And it does seem like Crazy Raccoon is a little bit maybe trying to get a little desperate, trying to capitalize on stuff that maybe the whole team doesn't agree with here. If you had to give him some coaching words, Trav, my favorite question to ask, what would you say to the team right now? Crazy Raccoons getting it back together.
Yeah, I mean, they seem to be on top of it after that last game. I think maybe the drafts are taking them a little bit by surprise, and I think they're taking us all by surprise.
No, it's neither.
But they do seem to be kind of, pivoting on the fly and making sure that they're kind of not playing into Effort Results game, at least, in the last two. Because as I said, they were very calculated in the first Effort Result, and then from there it definitely went a bit downhill for them and started to get a bit antsy, jumping in where there wasn't really a play to be had for Melody and the kit, that is, and the Gus was kind of just stood watching. Couldn't really do too much about it in the end as Crazy Raccoon. They're a strong team. They're always going to remain strong. So we'll move on to Kaboom Canyon now and see if they're going to be able to take this to a fifth and final, or if Crazy Raccoon will close it out here.
This is the thing that Coon can't turn you back on is they've got that experience. You know, they know when the tides are changing and when to hold firm and when to go on the aggressive and when to go on the defensive. Yes, they made some mistakes today already for sure, and they have not had their best showing whatsoever in these quarterfinal stages against a very unknown team like Effort Result. I got to be honest, I'm struggling to recall, for me at least, at a time that I
Yo veo que están jugando los mismos mapas.
Team that have come in for their monthly final against such
Atrapaje.
Liking what Crazy Raccoon have got that a little bit more.
I don't know, bro. Getting heist, I mean. I don't know.
We've seen how this plays out.
It's not 3 bridges, to be fair, or a bridge too far, but I mean, it's you know, it's not had the best of success rates historically as a mode. It could, I mean, and going back to the World Finals, we did see that kit appearance in A Bridge Too Far by Juan Carlos, of course. Who can forget one of the most memorable moments of the World Finals? I did think going into the draft that I didn't mind it as much as what actually availed and turned out to be the
case.
Ver
cómo defienden su...
It obviously just didn't quite work out in that regard. Maybe it'll work out better.
Su refri.
Already some good positioning power going straight in. Look at that. Look at to the punch there. Just how much there Gina Zeri really was. And now all 3 members here have Effort Result on the safe and going in.
Yeah, well, some good shots coming in now as well. No real damage though as the
Yo me pregunto por qué no han agarrado al tren. Ah, lo banearon al tren, ¿no?
Onto the safe, and now a good aggressive push coming in from Daryl there as well. Split coming through as Napishu getting some big damage down on safe, but Tensai up top got the flames on safe as well, and that's going to flip it in CR's favor as now we see Gina's into 2 people, and that's never going to end well.
Yeah, 2 people and a Grigri as well. And that's just like really not very good judgment call. You want to have your teammates there to back you up in those eventualities. It wasn't there, not even close. As now, CR pushing back through this mid. The Grigri still going in. Daryl has got roll on the side of the result. There you see the numbing needles as well. Will cause a slowing effect. Now the push coming in. This is dangerous though as well for a map and mode like this and this stature. If a result don't get a win here, they're going to be up against a match point, and it is so far Crazy Raccoon with the lead. Now the hyper charge of Moya going in, and the safe decimated down to 1 HP. It's going to be over really quite quickly now as that top side is taken care of. As Crazy Raccoon move on to match point.
I mean, big stuff there as well. You know, you see Moya getting to the safe. Tensai, it's rare you see an Amber being able to make the move towards the safe and use that gadget on it to get so much damage. Pretty much replicates what a Melody can do. But because they've got a kit, because they've got a Daryl, they don't have the range to keep her away. She's able to just have that free roam straight towards the safe.
Tienen que ir a por el
with hypercharge, and that's pretty much the whole
por el baúl nomás.
Very quick decimation there from CR. Pinpoint precision. As the result all completely full. And what's the Daryl going to do in this scenario so early in the game?
Ahí tenía que tener un tanque para defender.
Great positioning there to get on the safe. Let's see how the defense is on the side of effort result, because Daryl is causing a lot of damage. And if they get that recording rotator on the safe and that gadget gets maximum value, it's going to cause a lot.
Mira cómo revientan, mira cómo revientan. A la bestia.
Already.
Yeah, and Milcray will pick up the backlines as well. Gina's all going to come in with this
gadget
here. Use the cardboard box, but he is going to go down. He should be able to survive here as well. Gotcha gadget brings so much health to him. Might be able to get a super onto the safe here, and if he does, it's going to be
mal pick.
Still 50% on the other side. Tensai moving forward. Super onto it. Burn down will come through, and Moya gets the super once again. That's going to be the game.
Mal pick.
Crazy Raccoon are going to the semi-finals.
Mal piqueo.
I mean, it wasn't clean. You gotta say it. It wasn't clean. It wasn't smooth. But the 4% that were in favor of every result on event.brawlstars.com did not come through in this instance, and it is not going to be the upset that we were potentially about to see. That would have been what a crazy start to the year that would have been, to see Crazy Raccoon go out in the quarterfinals to a relatively unknown team. But they survived. But it was not clean.
Well, Trev, our predictions are safe, but I do have to say, effort result, a beautiful showing for the first monthly final of the year.
Ya ganó Crazy Raccoon.
We know there's still a lot of Brawl Stars to be played here, but they've got to be feeling good about delivering the blow that they did to a team like Crazy Raccoon. And if we know anything about them, it's that they're willing to put in the effort. So considering this might just be the beginning of an incredible story this year for them, what else would you want to write as a footnote, perhaps, to these games, Trev?
I mean, I'm so thrilled that effort result have come in here and shown us that they're not going to get swept. They have got what it takes to be able to play up against these top teams. Because before, I looked at the notes and the team sheets. I hadn't really heard of 2 of the players. Only Wahochi was really known to me, and now they're all on, they're on my radar because they played so well. They drafted pretty randomly, pretty kind of like out there, but a lot of the time, when I see teams playing the likes of Crazy Raccoon in East Asia region, big teams in other regions, like, listen, draft weird, try take them by surprise, because that's a lot of the time the only chance they really have. And to see a team actually do that and have it succeed for a good amount of it, it really warms my heart, and I'm excited to see other underdog teams in this region be able to show what they've got as well.
No, espérate.
Well said. And as we take a look at the bracket, it is important to remember that the bracket doesn't tell the whole story, but it does still tell us a lot, especially about what's to come.
Semifinales.
It really does. I'm looking forward to seeing what effort result brings to the table. In the
Crazy Raccoon pasa.
I think just trying to take it down a notch.
Navi versus Frenzy Gaming. Oye, Navi lo conozco desde Dota.
What a great start. But you got to ask yourself the question against Crazy Raccoon.
Frenzy Gaming.
Navi, Frenzy Gaming. How's that going to look for Crazy Raccoon? They did not have a good start here today whatsoever. I'm not sure whether we even see them in the grand finals at this rate, unless they get things together behind the scenes and start to come back stronger. Because That wasn't good enough for me.
¿Y esto cómo votó?
A monthly final winning performance as far as I'm concerned so far. There's many matchups still to
Tipo
come.
terminado. Ah, la man. No avisan, ¿no? Me dicen vota cuando ya acabó la
Great
votos.
point. There's a bit of blood in the water now for other teams who are looking at Crazy Raccoon. And, you know, we're going to take a look back at the highlights from those games. You know these other teams are going to be checking them out, too. Checking for moments of weakness, checking for opportunities. And, Travis, we take a look at some of the highlights. When you see some exciting moments, you know, feel free to shout them out. But, you know, we've got a little bit more to get to. In fact, a lot more Brawl Stars today. We did see that bracket now. Oh, we're checking in with the teams as well. I do like that these made it all the way into the replay. But a lot of action here, Ark.
Oh yeah, massively so. I mean, this was the first set, and of course, we did almost see a big turnaround, a big upset there, which could have gone very much in favor of every result, but it was the second set in which they actually managed to gain the lead over Crazy Raccoon. That's a crazy thing. Crazy thing to see, honestly, to tie up the series. But no, it was really quite, for me, a turning point, because as me and Trev pointed out, like, double throw was what every result went in with. And the more Crazy Raccoon was such a fierce idea into it, but it didn't work.
It did not, but you know what? We are going to leave you with some things that did, some things that didn't work. We are going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll be back with Ready, Set. So don't go anywhere. We got lots more Brawl Stars to cover.
Which would you...
理由は
Porque es rápido, porque tiene rápido movimientos y es fuerte. Ah, ¿cuál escoges acá?
Kenji.
Kenji. Porque es rápido. Y ahí. DMZ. ¿Chester? Porque su camino está OP y odio lo que... RT. Eso que es un gadget para todos los aliados. Es realmente bacán.
Welcome back. That was a quick switch on our casters, but not a lot else happened. Did you stick around and check out what the players had to say about some of their favorite
What the
brawlers?
fuck?
Did either of you have a chance to catch it? Ready, set, and or just hopping into the chair? Welcome to the show.
Traducción para mí, acaso para ti.
Los
I'm feeling great.
asiáticos
I'm
juegan
glad
roles
to
con
be
mucha
back in
velocidad.
East Asia for another fantastic year of covering really the most
Mi velocidad-
skilled region in all of Brawl Stars.
Yo practico todas las madrugadas con mi Gampi.
Coming up that we get to cover here, we've got Navi versus Frenzy Gaming. And Navi, a very storied roster, very storied brand across all
Navi
of esports. And
es un equipo ya muy antiguo, ¿eh?
That flies that flag with pride. Tell me a little bit more about this Navi roster.
Encuesta vota por Navi.
Well, I mean, there's a lot to say. We got Rio.
Los
Navi.
asiáticos son velas
The entire squad.
como
We
Willy.
covered already. This is the
A Navi lo
most
conozco.
mechanically
A este
skilled region
Frenzy
in all of
Gaming no
Brawl
lo
Stars.
mando.
This is a new roster joining forces this year, though. A Choppy, Kuru,
¿Y ese
Ryoki.
niñito
You'll probably
qué?
remember Kuru and Ryoki from last year's Nai Doug. They were sort of
15 años
in that
ganando
pack of
mucho
three
dinero,
teams that were in
jugando.
contention for making it to LCQ in the postseason. And the Choppy, you should know his name if you've been paying attention to Brawl Esports for a good long while. He's got 2 World
Ve.
Championships under his belt in 2021
Aprieta.
and 2022, playing with Zeta Division and then
Ese
Zeta
chibolo
Division
factura
0
más que
the
tú.
following year. But after that, we didn't really see too much out of him.
Todos
Made
con corte
LCQ
hongo exi.
appearances, but not really
Verdad,
much in
corte
terms of
hongo.
World Finals. Though in speaking with people who are very knowledgeable about this region, I've heard that this is a front runner. This is top 1, top 2 team in the region.
Good looking team for sure, especially if we're going by
Kuru,
hats.
Ryoi,
The Star Park hat
Chapi.
is definitely something. A very limited piece of merchandise, I will say as
Así
well.
es la moda
It was only
asiática,
available, I believe it was maybe Paris, the 2022 World
Están
Finals, I want to say
listos para la guerra.
23. Sorry, 23? 22. But definitely great hats. I will say rosters on this, the Navi roster is extremely solid, and you can see here as well. They did only just about lose out to Zeta Division, so as it says from teammates to rivals. They did lose against Zeta Division narrowly in a 3-2, and it was double match point as
Vamos,
well.
Navi, no me decepciones.
Qualifying stages, so some really close.
Ese chibolito no sea,
so it's tough to get here.
No tengo grandes esperanzas con ese chibolito.
Well, I would love to hear what Navi has to say about all this. Let's check in with the team before this matchup.
やっぱりもう普段から生活も正しくして、ご飯とかも食べたり、当たり前のことをしっかりやって、ちゃんと練習とかもやって準備をしていきます。
Se ha preparado duro, dice. Va al inicio pelea con poca vida.
普段は自分たちの得意なキャラを優先して取って、あとは相手に取られたくないキャラだったり。そうですね、自分たちの編成、得意な編成とかを生かして、やることでうまく編成、立ち回りとかもうまくいって、勝利につなぐことができるかな。
Y voy a ver hasta las 3. ¿Qué misiones de rol tienes?
No, Navi's got style on the field and off, but let's talk now about Frenzy Gaming. They've got to get it together against this titan of a roster. What do
Las 2 de la mañana
know
quiere
about
hacer.
them so far, Trev?
I know they're going to be in for a pretty tough time. As Renee said, this might be a top 2 roster in the region in Navi. So Frenzy Gaming, Danshari, Toridesu, and Mira going to be having a bit of a tough time when it comes to trying to get out of the quarterfinals here. Probably, of a similar ranking to what we've just seen in the previous game, who faced off against Crazy Raccoon. It's going to be probably a very similar match, 3-0, 3-1, somewhere in that region, I'd say, because they're being thrown straight into the deep end again against such a heavy team.
Oh, and I'd love to pull the map pool up here as I turn to you, Ready, Set, and ask, you watched that last match between Crazy Raccoon and Effort Result. You saw Effort Result start to squeak ahead here. Do you think this could be a similar story for
Mándame un privado en IG.
I have to be uncertain here, right? Because from what I've heard, Crazy Raccoon were actually kind of struggling coming into this, and Navi are looking like they're really leading the pack in these terms. But I agree with Trav here. I think that we put Effort Result and Frenzy Gaming kind of on similar level, where they're outside of the top 4 in this region as far as what we predicted to take the wins here in the quarterfinals at least.
Well, anything can happen, especially as we head out to our first map here. Although we did put in some predictions, we do have some stake in the game. But you know what? More than anything else, we cheer for good games, and I do believe both of these teams can bring it. So, gentlemen, we're getting ready for the draft here. What do you think you'd like to see from both of these teams?
I mean, to be honest, I don't know about the draft, but 86%, it's less convincing than the previous one, but still about as one-sided as it gets in those predictions from the community on event.brawlstars.com. Obviously, get over there if you want all that free stuff. There's star drops, rank drops, and even a spray.
Oye, hay un
Defiancy, we'll get into this draft in just a moment. Bans should be sliding through any second now. But we do see the occasional thrower. You've got to expect, I was going to say Juju to be banned, Berry along with it as well. Eve across the water going to be banned. Same with Angelo being able to go and slide across that water. Surgeon Tick, another couple of great picks banned out as well. So 6 very good bans there already.
And I think the bans really do reflect who we see have first pick and who has last pick. Navi just banning out pretty much straight up the best stuff that can combo with the most. RT, first selection over here from Frenzy Gaming. That's a very safe first pick. It's not really unexpected. It's a brawler that is able to contend decently at long range, still gets outdone by a bunch of the sharpshooters, but isn't as risky of a pick as like a hard sharpshooter like, say, Piper, because he's able to defend himself quite well in close range.
Yeah, I mean, when you drop that gadget and just drop your legs straight away, you can take brawlers by huge surprise when you're in close proximity to them. We're going to see the Lou come across there, and that's a counter to measure to other more aggressive things as well as that RT. Can be rolling on in as well. Going to be good to be able to go across that water. We've seen the Eve banned out, the Angelo banned out, the Juju banned out. So many things can go across water. Obviously, RT can when the head is detached, but you never really go too far away from your legs. So a Charpy definitely going to have some good free roam over this watery area.
I think so, and also the ability to hit through walls can be useful for taking control of one of the sides, because usually the dynamic that we see here is once a team gets control of one of the bushes on the left side or the right side of the map, it is tough to get them out of there. Kit is a selection from Frenzy Gaming, one that Effort Result leaned on quite a bit and saw some success in the end, fell quite short, but an excellent assassin. I'm just curious where exactly this is going to find its most value. Maybe if a Choppy decides to float over the water, you can use the stun them on the water, but you can still attack.
Well, I'm not sure how much I love the kit. The cardboard box is definitely a wonderful piece of kit for Kit to be able to go in viz and slide across the jumper as well, and pairing that with a tank, always very, very solid.
Patrones,
tank combo. Usually something a bit more aggressive, something with a bit more mobility, like we saw the Daryl, a non-tanky option like we saw with the Melody. Melody not here, but usually see it with something with, you know, mobility to get Kit into those aggressive positions, being able to hit shots with those thrower things that he does throw out. But it's going to be enough, not something that I've seen too often on this map. But Jackie, going to be a decent pick. Not really the best into Frank, I will say. We kind of see that Jackie-Frank matchup go Frank's way fairly often, but at the same time, the ability to kind of have that wall-piercing ability as well is definitely going to be quite strong on Canal Grande.
I'll confess, I was expecting something more like a Colette to deal with Frank here. As long as you get that control of mid, then you're able to shut down the Frank the entire time. One of basically the only true counters to that brawler. Jackie, in response, she's not able to three-shot a Frank. Because she has very low reload speed, but what I think she should be able to do quite well is counter that Kit. She's impossible to jump for the Kit. It should be a very, very notable thing. And she should be able to get some speed for a retake. She's thinking about grabbing that blue star. Already, Navi have stormed the left and right sides. Takedown for Guru, and already a freeze on Tori Desu. It's a shutout by Navi.
I mean, I can't say we didn't expect this from Navi. They're a very solid team. Dan Shari's going to jump in on his own.
Voy a ponerme mi nombre así, WGG, iWillyGG.
Double stun from Tori Desu. Might be able to get Ryohei here as well when he unfreezes, and he does just that. Only a very small lead now for Navi, and that is going to surely be gone here, but a really nice hyper charge, and Chappie doesn't actually save him or get the kill. A little bit unfortunate then, but Stars are taking up like nobody's business here. We're already at 16-13.
It's an absolute melee here. Tori Desu trying to get a little bit more healing from Dan Shari, but it just doesn't ring true. Frenzy Gaming got to play cautious here. We'll see a kill on the Kuru. Dan Shari maybe didn't have to use a super there, but doesn't hurt to go ahead and confirm that kill. It is a one-kill game.
Hola, tu pana el Bonifacio.
Frenzy Gaming need to make the first move.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be the golden kill here. Whoever takes it's going to take this opening game, and Frenzy are the ones in full control of the map, but they, you know, if they don't get a kill, they're going to have to make the move eventually, because they're going to lose 30 seconds to make the move and get the kill.
Un kill nomás necesita Navi.
In the best of positions, but in a good position. Un kill nomás necesita Navi.
No!
Gets caught by the
Defienda!
They get the kill.
Mira, Navi, ¿qué has hecho?
Navi couldn't hold on to the lead.
Nothing they could really do against that ability right there. I mean, except for back up a bit more from that Frank, and then you risk getting jumped by the Kit at the same time. And that was a bit of a disjointed offense, if I'm going to be perfectly honest here. They did take the win, okay? But if Kit were left all alone and killed sooner, then that could have actually bricked the entire
Ese video ya lo mandaste hace tiempo, ya no sé en dónde, ya lo había visto.
Yoki off the bat, kill on the left side, but a similar beginning for Frenzy Gaming on the right side, as this time they actually are quite successful in shutting out Navi. A Choppy with super to the back and the super in from Kuru. No freezes or anything. Another movement, a lane switch from Kit over to the left side. Ryohei doing quite a good job of avoiding these attacks from Tori Desu. It saved his life for now, picks up one, looking for two, gets the mutually assured destruction, and a one-star lead for Navi.
¿Están jugando las mundiales ahora o son grabaciones? Están jugando las mundiales ahora, finales de febrero.
He's going to move now over to the right-hand side, stay with the rest of his team, and let Frenzy Gaming come to them, rather than having this very scrappy brawl like they did in the last game, which didn't work out for them in the long run, as they did end up losing it.
No aguantan trago.
we kind of haven't had this downtime in like 3 minutes of Brawl Stars gameplay. So quite intrigued to see what Frenzy Gaming do to make the move and try get this league back.
I have to be curious if they'll be able to leverage something similar to the last round, right? Because we had that aggressive move in from Torneo.
Oye, están iguales, ¿eh?
Dan Shari follow up with the super. You have a couple of options, really, but I'm honestly a little bit more tempted to say that was a mistake by Navi to stay so close to a Frank with the super. We'll see the clock start ticking down, and this is going to force an interaction from Frenzy Gaming. Navi are quite prepared for this. Rio, he doesn't quite have the super, but he does have the hypercharge. He does have speed if necessary, and Kuru's able to freeze things. Dan Shari going to lead the charge in with a super, now trying to bait out the abilities. Hypercharge freeze down. Ryoki tries to ring everything. There's one. Coming for 2 and 3 on a Dan Shari as Navi team wipe Frenzy Gaming and lock away game 2.
I mean, that was
si tienes Twitch, vente para Twitch, tu panel Bonifacio.
Threw the hypercharge down. Obviously, Frank was able to gadget through it and not be stunned, but they couldn't move anywhere. They were slipping and sliding, just playing straight into Navi's game, and then along comes the Jackie with hypercharge and just absolutely decimates them. Gets all 3 kills towards the end, and I think that's the game Navi should be playing. They shouldn't be playing this scrappy Brawl Stars that obviously Frenzy Gaming want to bait them into, because I think it's fair to say Frenzy know they're the weaker team out of the two.
I think so, and I think it's part of why they decide to go for this composition. Early interaction lets Navi lead by the blue star. We'll see Frenzy Gaming still in possession of the left side. I think that the matchup in terms of power scaling of the two teams is why Frenzy Gaming have decided to go for this sort of cheesy comp. Ryoki in, stunning everyone. There's 2 coming for the 3-piece. Dan Shari shut down, and it's a repeat of what we saw towards the end of game 2.
Real good stuff from Navi here. They've been a lot more composed and controlled about what they're doing at Charpy. Moving forward, Samira, who's going to be jumped on by the kit, allows him to get some heals and keep him up in this situation. Really, he survived a lot longer than he should have done up there. But it's the same as the last game, a left to right divide and a hypercharge just looming with Kuru and Ryohei. And this feels like deja vu.
Yeah, and also with Ryohei rejoining forces on the right side, this is really where he needed to be. He sort of got estranged there on the left side. And that was the second time in this set where we've seen the 1v1 between Jackie and Frank. We called this out during the draft. It's just going to favor Frank every single time because Jackie doesn't have the damage, but she does have the ability to protect her teammates. Here comes the same move in from Dan Shari. Does he expect it to work? Jump onto Jackie, trying to get the takedown. There's a stun. Torneo with a hypercharge stun, but only gets 1. Kuru not going to get taken down unless Mira decides to pop a gadget. Ends up lining up the shot instead. We're at just a 5-star lead for Navi, and they backed all the way out of the bushes, but Cruz hanging on to this crucial hypercharge super. Stun from the kid. They're vulnerable.
Yeah, Charpy will flip it all, but Kuru goes in with Mira. Should fall down and does right there, and Charpy with 6 stars over his head at the end of the game. And Navi, although they had some pressure on them here and there, managed to hold on to the end and take set 1.
I think Frenzy Gaming sort of lost their bearings there towards the end. We saw Frank walk all the way back to mid while his RT went completely aggro in the last few seconds. I think there was an opportunity for teamwork there for Frenzy Gaming, but I think they sort of saw the future before it actually happened, okay? They knew that this was a chalked game, and we just saw how well prepared Navi were for this aggro push from Frenzy Gaming, and it comes from the strength of being in numbers. I'm also quite impressed by what Shade was able to accomplish there. When it comes down to this slaughter, as you put it, Shade's able to stay on the other side of the wall, pretty safe from everything that's happening on the other side of the indestructible when things are just happening in one bush.
Now, if we had to identify what we could think from our perspective, limited as it may be, of how Navi is able to pull this off, is it maybe due to communication? Is it, you know, a relatively new roster? Is this due to them putting in all the hours, or is Kuru just like that?
I mean, to be fair, I think that near enough the whole of Navi's just like that. You know, they're huge players, massive names in the Brawl Stars scene, and I think coming into this one, they're just as you know, the people are putting in the past. They're like East Asia in general.
Primer match para Navi.
Good at the game. Their drafts is where it does lack, and I think it's fair to say we can see that, and that is, you know, East Asia's weakness. But when they're only playing against East Asia, that doesn't really matter. It all comes down to mechanics. And I will say, Friends of Gaming from game 2 to game 3, they tried the same thing and expected a different result, running through that mid and knowing you're going into a Jackie hypercharge and the Lu hypercharge, it's going to end the same no matter how many times you try it.
Yeah, ready? I mean, you started off this match calling them Mechanical Wizards. We're rounding it out now. Trav saying the same thing. I mean, aside from that, what else do they have in their pockets? Because it's been a tough region, but we're looking at the top 8 teams that managed to get to the end of the to the end of the month. We've got a long season ahead. So aside from the mechanical skills, what is really setting them apart in this matchup?
Navi, I think they also just had a good draft into this. Didn't leave themselves too vulnerable. There were some tempting selections in there. You see the Frank, a lot of Brawl Stars players to go for the Colette out there, and I think Jackie was a really good response because she's going to be able to deal with Kit quite effectively. And I think just having that kind of knowledge is an indication that, yeah, they really are leading the region. This is a region that, as Trav pointed out, struggles with the draft, and
the Melody out the way and the Berry along with it as well. Don't want to be seeing those heals in this portion of the map. Lu and Crow along with Griff out the way for Frenzy Gaming. They do
here. First of all, there's not really much that Juju can do into him unless she gets her spawnable active, but he's also able to do extra damage to the enemy safe by equipping a different star power. It just means he doesn't have ammo steal anymore. And he's not even really concerned with Toridesu at all, just immediately going for the damage on the safe. And all alone, he's brought it down to 25%, so 75% total.
Yeah, well, he did just beeline towards the safe, but Toridesu managed to get a bit of a slow one in there and stopping his tracks, and Grigri is available as well. Ryohei jumps over a shot there, but gets slowed by the second. A defensive Grigri was going to be placed there. It does add some more damage to the safe with a couple more shots. Mira moving forwards, straight over the nest egg though, but Super will keep him alive and allow him to try and spray some burning shots onto the safe. Ryohei comes forward once again, gets a couple of shots on, but does get the kill, but no damage this time.
Honestly, good defense here from Juju, trying to leverage the water to stay on a place that Miko can't jump to. But you have a 2-tile-wide piece of water here on the left side, so he's going to be able to get AoE on you anyway. He can still juke him out a little bit, though. We see repeated damage onto the monkey on the left side. On the right side, we see Danshari trying just to get that hypercharge cycled out. It's going to be the win condition for Frenzy Gaming here. They're going to have to support Danshari because Danshari's the real damage here, unless Toridesu manages to get on the safe alone, which is just not happening when you have Miko constantly jumping on your lane.
Yeah, I mean, Ryohei's doing absolutely nothing and absolutely everything at the same time, and it's quite baffling to see. Gonna have the super available now as well. Did accidentally jump there, I believe, instead of pressing the super.
Se va con todo a
not gonna get so much damage on the safe no matter what, so chooses to pivot and go towards a Charpy to try free up some space for the other brawlers on his team, but with a Miko on safe, 24% damage left, and I don't think anybody else on Navi's even looked at the safe, never mind shot at it. The Charpy hypercharges himself just to get that extra speed. Mira might be his next target, it is, and forward goes Ryohei.
Con todo el mundo, mira.
Might be able to finish off this safe before the timer hits 0.
4.3k damage every single hit. Only a couple more ammo will be enough to do it. But this is almost an insurmountable Colette hypercharge in here at least to make things possible. With Colette rejoining the fray, no hypercharge, only defense against the Miko. It's chalked. That's going to be Navi. In spite of Frenzy Gaming finally descending upon their safe in the final moments, taking this one, Miko leading the charge the entire way.
I mean, just didn't care, did he? Miko just kept on going forwards and just constantly just jumping once, jumping twice, ending up on the safe. And, you know, that's the name of the game for him in this. It's all he needs to do, and it's all he is doing. So, you know, doing his part for the team, Kuro and Achapi just have to sit tight, try not to feed Colette too much, not let Angelo and Colette get this positioning on the map, and all of Navi doing their exact job.
Toridesu with a much more successful first defense. Keep in mind, last game it was 25% damage for Navi right off that first push with Miko. But Toridesu is trying to hold it down. Mira also and Danshari over here on the Colette on the right side have managed to win their respective measly 8% as a result, though. Once again, their main damage is Danshari. As long as Toridesu is holding down Miko, who's just cycling the respawns, won't be able to get any damage on the safe. It's going to be really slow for Frenzy Gaming. So they've not really done themselves many favors. With fake. Miko here. See Danshari with a super, and it amounts to nothing. And that's going to hurt him, actually. He's going to have to cycle another one of those to get the hypercharge. That's a lot of damage potential missed on the safe.
Well, Ryohei's pivoting, he's going right now. He's had a bit of more of a tough time against Toridesu, who used a gadget to get forwards, and Grigri on the safe. We're going to use the super as well, place that down and get some extra damage with the burn down. 500 per tick. And Toridesu now uses the gadget to get a shield, but a Charpy should be able to clean that up, throwing a super down once healed up. And a bit of damage now coming through as we start to see Miko getting towards the safe, finally in this game.
Just really frustrating to face this brawler and also have a Choppy getting up in your face at the same time. Danshari is forced to move away from the safe, and this is yet another super. Just not really his day here on the Colette. It's a missed opportunity to cycle hypercharge as well, which he's got to be getting close to now, but note that he's already run out of gadgets. It's all of his utility gone, and he's just going to have to earn it the hard way into 2 matchups. He's just not really good hypercharge out from a Choppy kill onto Mira. Danshari still defending against Ryohei, but here come all of those hypercharged pets Now descending upon Toridesu, who's able to fire through them, but into Dan Shari, into Angelo, Mira over here. That's a death sentence. Now Miko descending upon the safe
Aquí Moro está haciendo un huevo de daño, mira.
Yeah, surely this is going to be game. I mean, you saw a Mark Dan Shari there as well, and Chape just finished that
entonces, si quedan dos capítulos, Vegeta no se va a transformar.
Picks up the Juju in the middle of the map. Danshiru might have the hypercharge, but it's not going to match up to anything.
Vegeta se queda en SS3, porque así ha sido siempre. GG para Navi.
Tough one for Dan Shari. Tough game, really. Had a couple of supers, didn't manage to make anything out of them, and then the final moment, he finally had the hypercharged super and was like, it's my destiny. Even if we're losing the game, I will touch this. Oh, and then they...
Supuestamente es otro mundo paralelo.
During that game.
En modo chiquito solamente se pueden convertir hasta en Super Saiyan 4.
We saw them defend so much better. The Miko didn't touch the safe for a good while, and then they finally got their chance at offense and sort of decided to throw away all the control. They ran in, got as much damage as they could, died, and forfeited the mid control. And they weren't able to win that.
That's a great point to bring up, Reddy, and I think something worth really diving into here as we're getting into this. Potentially,
es como si lo hubieran convertido y se hubieran quedado en un mundo paralelo así hasta que regresen a la normalidad.
To hold on and to potentially stick around in this bracket.
Y su power up de
some great
ese...
stuff that they were able to do to kind of bring into their favor, but what would you say they really have to maximize on going into this next map that could get them over
Su power up puede ser Super Saiyan 4.
I think they just got to keep control, right? I mean, we saw them
Por eso que cuando regresan a modo adulto solamente quedan así
I mean,
en esos niveles.
it's really difficult for Friends of Gaming to do anything in that game. I'm not sure you can really blame them. They didn't have that last pick and Miko was selected, and as I said, he does absolutely nothing but so much at the same time, because Heist, you know, it doesn't matter if you've got control all game. If you don't have the damage on the safe, then you're going to be losing, and that's exactly what Friends of Gaming had there. So much control, but nothing to really deal the damage, and especially with all the spawnables coming in there from Frenzy. It was really tough. But as Reddy did mention, really good showings in first and second sets. They seem to look a bit better, but just can't really match up to the draft that Navi are bringing in. It's going to have to be a little bit of a different one, I think, in this third. Otherwise, they're going to be going home quite swiftly in this month.
With so much weight on the drafts and with so much effort, such a big organization behind Navi, some insights into how they might be putting these drafts together, what they might be cooking behind the scenes, you know, in their practice time. Trav, any insights?
I mean, I don't really know what they've been practicing with, to be honest with you. Like, it's such a tough job for a team like Friends of Gaming to be able to beat Navi no matter what, even if you've had all the practice in the world, all the drafting practice in the world, because you technically are outskilled, and I think Friends of Gaming would be open to admitting that. They are the underdogs coming into this one extremely heavily against Navi, so it's going to be tough to outdraft them, it's going to be tough to outplay them, but I'd quite like to see them take some risks like Effort Result did, go for a completely wild draft and just hope it pays off.
Well, I will point out that they do have an analyst on their team who is being an analyst for many teams around the world. They got Ace, and that should be a familiar name for you if you're involved in the sports scene. Because
Las hijas.
Las hijas. South American. He's somewhere in the Americas, but he's done analyst work for a lot of really successful teams.
No sabía que estabas en
I think
las
something like
hijas.
that is something that this region overall could use quite a bit of help with. But that's a tough job for Ace, right? Because he has to balance those selections with also the way that this region plays the game. A lot more emphasis on team fights and also just individual brawlers that players are really good at and can be tough to adapt to. So we're moving into out in the open here, Trav. A first selection of our team, just like on Canal, this is a safe pick.
Yeah, it's a very good one. It's just kind of... As you said, the same in Canal, it's just, you know, it's got the kind of ability to fight with sharpshooters, not as good as sharpshooters, but then you've also got that late game kind of defensive presence as well, being able to drop your legs and go very aggressive in that sense. But Gus, I think that's more of a me pick. You know, so versatile at the moment, got every bit of kit that he's ever going to need, and a pearl along with it as well. Same as RT, kind of okay in those mid-range sharpshooter interactions, but very good at close range and in the late. Daryl, wild one in my opinion.
I think that Daryl will be a little challenging to play into the Gus here. Okay, Kit coming out as well. Kit, Daryl, you in a monthly final? Ugh. This is the stuff you see on TikTok. I mean, it works, but this is the,
not
about to throw shade at Frenzy Gaming, but this is kind of the brain dead knockout comp here. And I just have to wonder if Navi thought that their opponents were above this, or whether they just have
Siempre se ponen al globo, ¿no? Darin, el gato.
Navi with this Pearl, great late game pick, and also with the gadget, you're able to one-shot quite a few brawlers.
8-bit.
Really getting that on like the RT or the Daryl.
Y mira que se ha puesto.
Kit is fair game, 8-bit from Navi also. So this is going to get you expanded damage.
Le va a reventar a Friencia. 3-0 Navi.
How that health is going to help them defend against Daryl. Really, once the kit Daryl
a Navi lo conozco desde Dota 2.
As much damage as possible. They'll have a little bit of CC because Gus will probably be getting his super, and he'll be able to knock back the Daryl after his first roll in.
Yeah, I mean, the Daryl, I have to question it. It's going to be kind of out of play for the first 30 seconds of the game, but, we see it in other knockout maps. It's a bit easier to do in, something like Flaring Phoenix or something wild like that, when you can just sit at the back of the map, or on even something like Gold Arm Gulch, where you can stay in the grass, stay out of the way. They're going to have to kind of grow aggressive in this one, and maybe try and build it up for the later rounds. Kit gets the super, and they are going very aggressive. Now they don't really have an answer for it at the moment. Kuru falling low as well with the connection from the RT. It's going to be very tough for them to survive this, and this is going to be a frenzy first round.
Yeah, this is not looking good for Navi so far. Hopefully they can at least get some utility, because Rio is still able to earn a super. Doesn't make much of a difference, but earn the hypercharge. Okay, now we're talking basically a free max speed when you just press a button and get some additional damage, maybe some shield. Just trying also to avoid feeding any abilities to Frenzy Gaming, but gotta remember that Toridesu farms this up for free. Maybe he just doesn't want to feed that Daryl hypercharge, which is a real concern. He gets so much shield from that. Ryohi's willing to throw away a hypercharge potential of his own in order to deny that ability alone.
Well, it's usually that comp that starts slow with the Daryl and Kit, wait for your supers and then go. But this is completely opposite, and we might see the Daryl launch padding in here when Toridesu and Mira explain that there's going to be a bit of a step out of line. Here he comes now, and they jump onto him, and this should surely be it. Rolling on in, taking out absolutely everyone. Kuru, the only one to survive, and with 500 HP, I don't see it lasting long. Cardboard box, and there he goes. Frenzy Gaming, starting this one off very, very strong.
I will drag you down to my level. That is the name of the game. Like, look, do anything to win, as long as it's within the rules. But man, Kit Daryl, I honestly, though, that's not really grimy by Frenzy. That's just Navi making an error when they're picking up their draft here. Maybe Ace thinking, well, there's no reason that this region would run some of that, but we've seen the Kit enough today. It's the second time that Frenzy Gaming have picked it to much success as well. The Kit tank already claims a first life on the side of Navi.
I mean, it is a bit grimy, to be fair. It's Navi's fault, but it's still a bit grimy. Like, this is the most awful comp to experience. We had it in one of the challenges recently, and it was just so annoying having to play against this when there's no draft. See, when there's a draft, it's your fault, right? Ban something out, stop this from happening, pick into it. But it's still so painful to play against, even if it is your fault. So you got to feel for Navi a little bit. But I mean, look at this dive, and we're going to see a champion going down. Just Ryohei alive. They do still have a little bit of a chance to come back on this one, but Ryohei heading straight for the gas.
Se lo reventaron a los Navi ahí que va a ser solo.
Okay, get easier passage into mid is going to be quite important. Wasting no utility. That super, he doesn't really need it that much. He should be able to win it back. Now, Achapi has the boosted booster out here. Once again, additional damage. Mira's trying to line up the shot. His position is revealed, obviously. So Navi, once again, they're able to stand here for a little bit. But they're going to have to be ready for the push in. Toridesu, sneak attack, not as successful, but going straight for the back lines. There it is. First predicted CC from Kuru, but you cannot block the second roll. And Frenzy Gaming are stealing away set 3.
Well, that was quite something. It was it was a lot. Frenzy just absolutely decimating them, walking over them. You expect, as I said, these first rounds in the games to go the way of Navi. And you expect when Frenzy get all the supers to then walk over them. But from the start, they were inevitable. They just walked all over Navi, and 2 kills total, and both of them came from Kuru. Toridesu got 3 on his own, and him and Dan Shari equally on 3, and that's more than the entire Navi team got combined.
Kit getting the most damage here also is just quite a lot, Seltzer, considering that he's usually a brawler that is not known for his DPS.
An impressive thing to point out there too, because I had my eyes fixated on the pure aggro. This was a game mode where Frenzy didn't have to split focus, a safe.
Hey, te sigue haciendo tu,
they could just go
diarios.
all out in knockout, and it was a switch flip as far as everything appeared. So tell me a little bit about how you think this could have been, a real showing for the particular game modes that we think Frenzy might be strongest in.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's obviously just the aggression that they benefit off. They played Heist pretty defensive, which, looking at that game, it kind of surprises me that was the kind of stance that they took on it, rather than just, playing to what their strengths clearly are in these aggressive tendencies. But Frenzy, they still got a lot of work to do. They're 2 sets behind, and they're going into a control-based game mode. Yes, you can be aggressive on it, but you have to be very controlled on dueling beetles. Can't really overstep, because if you overstep once and get wiped off the map, you're gonna find it really, really hard to break back through past these walls and get back into the action without just being pinned and spawned the entire game.
Este pendejo.
Okay, let's talk dueling beetles now. So we know that the Kit strat is not below Frenzy. So is it gonna get banned this time? Do we see some real-time adaptation, or are we just sticking to the prep for Navi? Honestly, as far as the matchups go, I feel like Navi can afford to play this one a little bit more by ear than they would the subsequent matchups, provided they make it there, provided that Frenzy Gaming don't stop them dead in their tracks here. Now, they have the first selection here. They don't have the benefit of having that final counter pick like Frenzy Gaming. So Navi are going to have to draft really, really well in order to guarantee themselves some safety. A Bell first selection here of dueling beetles will get them safety from something like something quite frustrating that is tanky in the mid. They're not going to be vulnerable. I mean, she's not a big consideration, but like Pam, something that you can mark down so that it doesn't have all of that rain on the point.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a good pick. Plays the range down one of the lanes and keeps them back, but it faces big issues when you don't have control and you can't shoot around those walls. B is it's the same. It's kind of expecting, when you see a B, you're expecting something like a Griff to be breaking up those walls to play along with it, and then the B starts to thrive as you can't really be locked in your spawn when you break half of the walls in your spawn. So I like that pick from both sides if they're going to be able to play the long range game, but you've kind of got to have the wall break along with it to be able to do that.
Honestly, not much of a B lover anymore. Used to love this brawler, but she's gotten a lot of nerfs. The game's just changed. I don't know what she would really be.
Ahí está mi flaquita. Ahora quiero que gane Frenzy.
Something like a Poco, because she can completely shut him out. There's nothing it can do to her, but he's banned. Not even a consideration for Navi. And I'm curious as to what options this really leaves open for Frenzy. One more thing on the B, I just think it dies to dumb stuff. I mean, has really low health and isn't able to defend itself so much in close range. Same for Belle, but she has more health than B, and she's able to unload more ammo at the same time. So Navi, to pair up with this Belle, they have the 5-6 selections. Decide to go for the Kit. Okay, the tides have shifted.
The Kit is, it's been here so much, and I did not expect to see this. Maybe I'm just unversed with the Apac draft, but the Kit comes in so much. Pair that with a Buster, and you're going to be having a pretty good time usually. The B can deal with the Buster quite quickly though, especially with a little bit of wall break here and there, and I'm expecting definitely something like a Griff now, surely, that's going to be able to break some of these walls and just shred through the Kit and the Buster. But yeah, they're going to go with the Frank, tank it down, and I mean, yeah, you can break the walls with that, and also against the Buster, you're going to be having a pretty good time. Kit, more of the same. I like that pick from Frenzy Gaming, and I think the draft that they have, although, B doesn't really have, the most thrilling matchups at the start of the draft. Now they've kind of got the Buster and the Kit, both short-range brawlers, Frank along with it as well. I think Frenzy are looking all right.
Forgive me, this is why I'm a coach. Excuse me, this is why I'm a caster instead of a coach, because something like Frank B, this is from the meta of yesteryear, where B was just such a good brawler, but things haven't changed too much in that these brawlers are still a really good pairing for one another. Frank, brawler that can be quite weak to B since she's able to keep it back quite a lot and break open the walls for the B. You're also able to survive the low DPS from Buster. Kit being on him just keeps him alive for longer. Maybe he reloads a little bit more. Toridesu is going to smack himself to death, I guess. And that was a little unexpected. Didn't mind unloading a couple shots into the Buster shield.
Yeah, it was definitely not what I was expecting, to be fair, but in the end it seems to have played out pretty well for Frenzy Gaming, and Danshari is just going to use this super to get straight back into the mix, and Achape can't avoid Toridesu at all, just can't even fight back the slightest, and Ryohei's going to be ran down by Toridesu again, but now the jump comes through from the Kit, and they get into range and start to bounce those shots back and get back into control of this mid portion of the map, but a good lead has already been built by Frenzy Gaming, and Frank Hypercharge is surely going to put back in the mid.
Okay, some wall break as well. Here comes the shield in from Ryohei. Danshari now going for the assassin strat. Only 37 health left to his name as he's still alive on the back lines. Tapped just a little bit by Ryohei and finished off by Achape, which also staggers him so that Na'Vi can fight this 3v2. Down goes Toridesu. Mira at long range trying to stay away from Achape. Still vulnerable to Kuru. He's tapping him like crazy.
I mean, you know, Achape and Ryohei's job is literally just stay out of the way of him whilst Kuru tries to pick him off. And that's exactly what happened there. They evaded enough shots for the help to come in and really show the worth. And 80% now. Navi did not start well, but it seems they're going to end extremely well, as they should be heading to match point. Danshari going to come in with the hypercharge, though, absolutely wiping so much out of the way. But Mira's going to go down thanks to Achape jumping in, and 100% hits as Navi goes to match point.
I will confess, though, Frenzy Gaming made a believer out of me in the first, 36% of their control on the point. Just really nothing that Na'Vi could do for a good minute, it seemed. And then they all started to bring it back. Once they got control of mid, it was much easier for them to hang on. Just have to wonder if that's going to repeat itself. You know, is this just how the comp plays out, or was Na'Vi sort of downloading the opposing strat and making computations on how exactly they're going to respond? I'll tell you this much, though. Toridesu is being much more cautious about pushing in a Ryohei. He's already ready with a pullback. Can't get it onto Danshari. Kuru's still finishing things off on the left side, as he's been completely ignored. Kid and Buster are stealing the show.
Yeah, the rattled hive just did so much work, though, but eventually the B did go down, and now Kit going to jump onto the top of Ryohei and start to make these moves forward. But Danshari over the left-hand side made big bouncing moves into the back lines of Navi. But these two Navi players still holding on strong and powering through. Danshari is going to go down, and 3 members of Navi will stand against just the Frank here. As Frenzy Gaming all respawning.
Need to somehow get the super out of Ryohei. Toridesu throws down his first, and it's a response for the Buster takedown on a Toridesu, and more balls of yarn, or I guess treasure chests coming out from the Thief Kit as well. We'll see a takedown on Mira, and it's a lockout by Na'Vi. Frenzy Gaming are having such a tough time pushing in.
Yeah, Danshari is waiting for his moment. Hypercharge now goes in. He'll go for Kuru. Nice but misses the timing on the gadget and gets pulled back by Ryohei. And now Mira getting just walked down as he can't do enough damage. Danshari, more of the same. He's going to die as well. And Navi should be walking away with this one. Hypercharge the super onto Toridesu. He's going to be wiped off this planet. And that's going to be Navi heading to the semi-finals to face off against Crazy Raccoon.
Solid drafts. And the mechanics all around. There is a reason that these guys are regarded as front runners in the region. Now, they did concede a single set there, but okay, it was into the Kit Buster. But at the same time, like Kit Buster, into the Kit Daryl. Kind of a low blow, but no one is really too good for it. As we saw the Kit Buster, and it was a good answer into that frame.
Dropping that one match there to Frenzy Gaming, but Navi coming out strong in the end and putting up some good numbers there. Just to remind people as they move on to that semifinal that they should still be feared. They should still be scared going up against this team.
They did put in a massive performance there as well. Navi looked extremely convincing towards the end. They started strong, they ended strong, but obviously there was that mid portion of the map where we started to doubt them a little bit. The exact same as Crazy Raccoon, so I think the semi-final is definitely going to be a very good show.
Yeah, we're gonna have to lodge a new prediction when we come to the semifinals match here, and it's gonna be a tough one just based on the Crazy Raccoon matches and the Na'Vi matches that we've seen today. But I do know they're going to be good. And these two teams, based on stats, it's going to be hard to think about who will come out ahead here. But with any last thoughts that we have here for Frenzy Gaming, for this matchup between Navi and Frenzy, anything you'd like to say, Ready, Set?
Good effort from Frenzy Gaming, and you got a set off of them. It's more than we could ask for. Many of the people that face Navi in the monthly qualifiers, so give yourself a pat on the back. You did well. Can't wait to see you in a following month.
And Trav, now looking at the bracket, we had a couple notes on what to expect for what's ahead. But Crazy Raccoon, Navi, any thoughts on this matchup?
Le faltan dos.
So close. Both of the teams
Reyes
have
y Niwa. Z Division, Team S2.
Both shown incredible strength, and they've both shown.
Hasta aquí me quedo, pero ya no puedo ver más. No quiero dormir.
So I'm really intrigued to see who's going to come out on top of this one. I think it's going to be a very, very.
Tiene para 2 horas más esta madre.
A lot to look forward to today. We haven't even gotten into the bottom half of the bracket. We do have some highlights from our last matchup to leave you with, but don't forget, when we come back, so much more Brawl Stars, so much more of the bracket, so much more to watch, and definitely more Kuru.
Ya me voy. Hablamos, muchachos, me tengo que ir.
Chivo Gigi.
Vayamos, gente. Bye bye. Chao, que descansen.